Iran has offered the first government-issued death toll from its bloody crackdown on protests around the country, and is far lower than the count by human rights groups. Trey Yingst joins us now from Tel Aviv with the latest. Trey.
Yeah, hey, Brian, good morning. We are following developments out of Iran as the internet blackout there reaches 2 weeks of total darkness.
Obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity with we call it Operation Midnight Hammer. We're 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
New video provided to Fox News shows the moments an Iranian drone slammed into
100, and the regime is now allegedly scheduled to execute the first anti-government protester today. President Trump urging that all Iranian patriots keep protesting as he sends a warning to Tehran.
We've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them.
President Trump's next move, I think that's going to be the key question.
What are the realistic options that are on the table for President Trump?
Well, two things, Charlie. I think, first of all, getting information into Iran to the protesters and out to the rest of the world so we can see what is going on.
Fox News can confirm that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead following Israeli strikes against his compound and location earlier today. A senior Israeli official confirming this news. Earlier tonight, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu describing the strikes not only against the supreme leader, but against much of the Iranian leadership. We know the breakdown in strikes focused on leadership for the Israelis and military targets initially for the Americans, and has since expanded as this campaign is expected to continue in the days and possibly even weeks ahead.
Scenes filling the skies of Tehran. Israel striking Iran's oil facilities, sending massive waves of fire through the streets as Operation Epic Fury rages on.
And President Trump, he is touting the operation's historic success, saying more firepower is actually on the way.
We've accomplished more in 1 week than anyone thought possible. We've wiped out their Navy, 44 ships. We've wiped out their Air Force, every plane. We've wiped out most of their missiles. You see, the missiles aren't coming much anymore. We've also hit their manufacturing areas where they make the missiles very hard. Their drone capacity is way down. And we've hurt them where it hurts.
Israeli forces continue to dominate the airspace, revealing several Iranian F-14 fighter jets have been destroyed. For the latest on the ground, we go to Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst live in Tel Aviv. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Overnight, the Israelis launching a new round of strikes just outside the Iranian capital of Tehran, striking the country's oil depots. You can see in some of this video here apocalyptic scenes as smoke and flames filled the skies of Tehran as people stopped on the side of the road to see just the aftermath of these Israeli strikes. Today, people on the ground in the Iranian capital describing it as raining oil as these droplets that were taken into the sky started to rain down on the city below. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says these strikes will continue and intensify in the days ahead.
With the help of our daring pilots and those of the United States, we have achieved almost complete control over the skies of Tehran. With each passing day, we are stripping away more and more capabilities of the regime in Iran. We are doing the same in Lebanon, with crushing attacks on Hezbollah terrorists who act on behalf of Iran.
The Iranians are responding with more missile fire toward Israel. You can see on Saturday some of these missiles intercepted over the skies of central Israel, sending people below in the city of Tel Aviv into bomb shelters once again. This fire continued early this morning with air raid sirens blaring across the city, although the fire is certainly decreasing as the Americans and Israelis go after these launching positions. It's not just Israel that is coming under attack, also Gulf countries taking more incoming fire over the weekend. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian saying this about those attacks.
I personally apologize to neighboring countries that were attacked by Iran. Our commanders, leaders, and loved ones lost their lives due to the brutal aggression that took place, and our armed forces are heroes who gave their lives to defend our territorial integrity. Our commanders took all the necessary measures in the absence of those leaders and defended our land with dignity and strength with their own decision.
Now, he didn't mention that just after making those remarks, the Iranians continued their attacks against Gulf countries. There were ballistic missiles and drones fired toward Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait, identifying where that enriched uranium is located and either destroying it or diluting it. Both of those processes could be very difficult because it is stored underground, but this is part of the game plan for the Americans and the Israelis as this war continues.
President Trump has had not only the confirmation of the threat that it poses, the uranium poses to not only the region, but really the world and certainly the U.S., but also the courage and will to do something about it.
Pentagon officials indicated the plan all along was to negotiate with bombs. After 2 nights of targeting Iranian air defense systems and radars, the president said, quote, discussions had been approved by Iran's leaders. What that means is yet to be determined, though the president has determined, quote, the naval blockade will remain in full force and effect until this transaction is finalized. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly. Iranian leaders denied reports of an agreement. Earlier today, CENTCOM disabled a 3rd oil tanker this week in the Gulf of Oman after the vessel violated the blockade against Iran by attempting to transport Iranian oil. A U.S. aircraft fired 2 Hellfire missiles into the ship's engine room after the crew refused to stop.
Gotten the Iranians' attention. The USS Michael Murphy launched dozens of Tomahawk missiles, hitting Iranian surveillance, communication systems, and air defenses along the southern coastline. These were the most ferocious and devastating airstrikes since we ended major combat operations in April. Tonight was going to be even worse.
We were hitting them very hard for the last 3 days. We're going to hit them even harder tonight. They knew that. We told them exactly what we were going to do. We explained it exactly because they had no Navy, they had no Air Force, they had no any weapons of detection, they had nothing. And so we could tell them exactly what there wasn't a thing they could have done about it.
It wasn't just these airstrikes that put the pressure on. The president warned Iran he would just keep bombing them every night until they signed, and flirted openly on Fox and Friends about seizing Karg Island. Reports say the combination of airstrikes and Trump's saber rattling really unsettled the enemy and forced them to agree to terms. And one of the most embarrassing revelations for the Iranians was Trump disclosing that the U.S. Navy has been conducting Operation Freedom in secret, finessing dozens of tankers out of the strait right under Iran's nose. Because without radar, satellite, and comms, the enemy's deaf, dumb, and blind.
Over the last month, we've been taking our ships, big ships, quietly at night. You guys didn't know that. Pretty cool, right? As a captain. He knows about more about ships than I do, but it's pretty cool. They turned off the lights. We bombed their radar and everything so they couldn't see what was going on. We took them out at night. And the strait will officially open as soon as we sign, which could be soon.
Today, CENTCOM said the strait's open for business for everyone except the Iranians. CENTCOM officially declaring the United States now controls the strait. Our forces disabled another blockade runner in the Gulf of Oman. A Guinea-flagged MT Javelier was trying to transport oil from Iran until one of our aircraft fired 2 Hellfire missiles straight through her engine room. The president told Fox last night that the mullahs called him, begging him to stop the strikes.
They've taken a pounding like very few people could take, and they want to make the deal a lot more than I do. And we could have had it done the other way, I guess, but it would have taken longer. They got hit very hard recently, as you know, and I don't like to have to do things that way, but I felt it was necessary. It's a great deal for the United States and for the Middle East.
Trump's been waiting at the negotiating table for 2 whole weeks, and now we're finally inches away from a deal. JD, he could be signing a memorandum of understanding in Europe this weekend. You know, Trump's got to be at the UFC fight.
Has Iran committed to not pursuing a nuclear weapon, or will there be more negotiations on that down the line?
They will not have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. There will be no, which is the whole reason, which is a big part of the reason.
Is that going to be in your agreement, sir?
They will not only not have, they will not purchase, develop in any way, any shape, in any way, shape, or form a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon.
But we have been down this road before. It's not over till it's over. Until we witness the dust being destroyed, anything can happen. But this time does feel different. Felt different for the market, too. Dow shot up 900 points. Oil fell into the 80s. And administration sources tell Primetime this looks like it's it. Remember, the president's aiming for a great deal or no deal.